stream again today. I'm so excited to be here with every single one of you that has tuned in live. This is No Filters happening right here on Love Matters Naija's Facebook page. I'm super excited because we have an interesting, very diverse panel to discuss cheating in relationships. This is something that everybody talks about all the time. People are always asking us in our inbox, giving us different scenarios of their partner when they have cheated, right? So I'm just going to go straight to introductions. I will have my lovely panel introduce themselves. We're going to start with Ayo. So Ayo, please just give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Ayo. I'm a lawyer. I don't know what else you guys want to know about me. I'm a serial dater. I love online dating as just a move platform, whatever. I work on Love No Get I, which is a online dating platform for Nigerians.
Thank you. We'll move to Deoye.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Deoye. Like Ari said, I'm a writer, film critic, theater critic, and I work in healthcare, largely in healthcare, for the past 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lovely to meet you, Deoye. We'll go to Toby.
Hi everyone, my name is Oluwatobi, but everyone calls me Toby. I'm a writer, also UI UX designer. Nice to meet you.
Yes,
nice to meet you.
Anyway, it's fine. I'll just even add that Toby is a contributor for Love Matters Naija, like on the website. So there are a couple of articles that she has written for us on the website, and then we'll talk about some of, she wrote an article on cheating that I think will be relevant to this conversation. So we're just going to go right straight into it, right? Cheating in relationships, right? What do we think is the main cause for infidelity in committed relationships? Who wants to go first?
Main cause. Honestly, I think I would say indiscipline. Because honestly, I feel like personally, indiscipline is the main cause because everyone will always, have someone else that they're attracted to or that they like, or that maybe they're even drawn to. But it all depends on you. If you're just going to have to decide the kind of partner you're going to be. If you're going to be a loyal, honest partner, or if you're going to be the type that will hurt your partner by cheating. So I think that the difference between someone who cheats and someone who doesn't, most of the time, is indiscipline. Personally, that's what I feel.
I also feel like there are also expectations people have of their partners. I want to ask, Deoye, have you ever been in a position where you have been cheated on or someone cheated on you? How did you handle that?
Yeah, actually, yes. I have been cheated on. That was like over 5 years ago, anyway. And the amazing part or the interesting part was that that didn't end the relationship for me. So I think we still went on for a while before we finally broke up. And when we did break up, it was not because of what she did. I think it was also because I kind of felt a sense of responsibility. It was a long distance relationship anyway. She wasn't in Lagos. I was in Lagos. She wasn't in Lagos. We were in 2 different states and all that. So I think I just felt like a bit responsible for what happened. And then she was one who came out to tell me that, hey, this is what happened and everything. I'm so ashamed of myself, blah, 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 and I thought about it, and I didn't just see what she did as being a bad person. I guess that was what was it for me, because I looked at that action and then looked at the sum of who she is, and I just didn't see that as a deal breaker. So, yeah.
Ayo, is cheating a deal breaker for you? Kelly is not for doing. But Ayo, would you say that cheating is a deal breaker for you? And how, if have you been cheated on before? How did you handle it? How did you, what lessons did you learn from that experience?
So I probably come to this with a little bit of a, I don't know, not to like be a devil's advocate. I just feel like my opinions are often, a little bit different from a lot of people. So one, kind of the first question about like why people cheat, I think a lot of cheating also comes from like people being not honest, either with themselves or their partners, right? So some like I remember I was on a date with like, well, it was a date, it was a thing, Sha. And one of the things that he said, it was also somewhat like it was a very casual thing that was not gonna end up in dating. I think it was fairly obvious at the time. But anyway, we're randomly talking, and apparently people tell me things that they maybe shouldn't. And he tells me he's cheated on every woman he's ever dated. And I just thought,
Wonderful.
That's a red flag.
Uncle, what are you doing? Like, that to me is the perfect example of someone who's just really not honest with themselves, right? Like, that guy would be significantly better off if every woman he meets and he tries to date, he tells, hey, I don't believe in monogamy. I think that open relationships are probably a better way to do relationships, blah blah blah. If he would just say that, of course not every woman is going to be down, and this is a Nigerian guy, right? So not every Nigerian woman or whoever he dates is going to be okay with it, but at least you've put it out there. If they want to date you, then now you like, because to me cheating is just like emotional drama that's unnecessary, right? Like, if you're in an open relationship, you can do the exact same things, just like without the lying. And for some people, the lying is the point. So for those who it's whatever. But is it a deal breaker for me? No, it's not. But I also like, I'm a huge advocate personally and for other people for open relationships and for everything in between. So something that might not be open, like, go sleep with whoever, but like where there's just an understanding, right? Like the example Daria gave from his life, where it's like long distance, like I think that any serious long distance needs to have an element of openness to it, because you're going to be physically, emotionally, whatever, attracted to people who are in closer proximity to you. Like everything else you're saying, oh no, by monogamy, it's like, okay, sure, but if it doesn't work out, there's like, some obvious reasons why. So for me, it's not a deal breaker, but I imagine that if I'm having an honest conversation with someone I'm dating, if you choose to decide to be in an open relationship, then cheating just really, I mean, you can still cheat if you're open, right? But like, and in that, I feel like in that case, I'd be really pissed off, because it's like
because you had all the chance to.
It's like you can, why are you lying? Like, well, you don't even have to lie. Like, what are you doing? But I don't think it's a deal breaker just off the bat, because I think that it depends on so many other things, like if it's a casual relationship, then it's like, whatever, do you, I don't care. Or, like, not saying that I wouldn't be hurt, but like, because I just don't like being like deceived and made to look like an idiot. But if it's like, now if it's someone who has always been, no, I'm Mr. Discipline, I'm blah, 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 and then you do this, and it might be more hurtful, and it might be a deal breaker in the sense that it now gives me more information about you and our relationship, right? So if I feel like you're cheating on me because you don't respect me and you don't, then it's like, okay, well, I'm breaking up with the person, not because of the cheating, but because of all the other things that, and generally, I think that's why people break up with people who cheat on them anyway, right? But for me, it's like, just like that act of cheating alone is not conclusive evidence that the person doesn't care or whatever. It just means that we need to sit down and talk and figure out what the future is. And I think some people's relationships end up going to open from somebody cheating, and they're like, okay, you know what? Apparently we need, options. And so like, let's do that. But I don't think it's a good reason to throw away something really good.
But I think that you mentioned like open relationships, right? And I feel like a lot of times even cheating that happen in those situations, right? And in those
no, for sure.
In those spaces where people have said, okay, fine. So I think what we understand is the betrayal of the trust, right? But I want to ask a question. I think everybody has kind of, I don't know if Toby agreed with the point, if Toby said that it wasn't a deal breaker for her. But I know that Doye has implied that it's a deal breaker for him. You've implied that. I want to know, why do you feel it's not enough reason to if you have decided, right, and this is for Ayo and Deoye, if you have decided that, you and your partner agree to be monogamous or open or whatever, you have an agreement, and then someone goes against that, and you decide to stay in that situation, what is the reason why you would say, I know this person has hurt me, but I'm still going to stay anyways?
I mean, for me, I would say that one, the way that I see the world and just relationships in general, everything is you give something, you take something, right? Like it's kind of like if what I'm giving or if what I'm getting is not equal or greater than what I'm giving, right? And so there becomes an imbalance, right? So if someone cheats on me and I feel like they have done something that is a betrayal of trust, my first question is to understand the circumstance and understand why, right? Like, I'll give an example. If you're in an open relationship and the other let me use a more normal context, because I feel like open is kind of on the fringes and may not really work for a lot of people as far as like analogies. But like, let's say someone cheats on me by having, making out with their ex-girlfriend, right? They know that is something that bothers me. Maybe they know that I've been telling them that ex is questionable, and they've been like, oh, no, it's cool, whatever, right? And then they now like end up in a situation where they make out with that person, and I think that it's hurtful and blah, blah, blah. Well, like in that situation, I'm going to pause and think, okay, like, what's the story? Granted, they could lie because obviously cheating is already kind of a version of lying, right? But if I understand what really happened, where they're like, okay, well, they were drinking, they were depressed, like maybe we just got in a fight the day before and I like said some really like jacked up things to them. Or it seemed like maybe we're breaking up, like those are circumstances that might make me be like, okay, I mean, you thought I was gonna break up with you and you were sad and you ended up like, you and this girl work together and, something like things like that, right? Like those circumstances are a little different from like, oh, you've been texting some girl from Instagram and she came to your hotel when you were in her city and you're like, it's going down, right? Like, so I think that the circumstances are very important. Context is everything, but I think beyond that, it's about like, what am I willing to give up, right? Like if, and people I think are probably more likely to stay when someone cheats in a marriage, even though they don't say it. But that's because, again, they're making these evaluations of like, okay, 5 years, 10 years together, we care.
Ayo, can you hear us? Is she frozen? Okay. I think Ayo's internet is a bit frozen.
Yeah, but I think I agree.
Okay, Toby was right. Toby,
yeah, I agree. Like, I've always said that for me personally. Oh, she's back.
Oh,
welcome back.
I got off.
It's fine. Maybe Toby can respond.
Yeah, so I was saying that I agree. Personally, I think that it's not exactly. I would have a conversation first before I'll figure out, if I want to end the relationship or if I want to continue. And the answers from that conversation, the results of that conversation, people decide if I'm going to continue with the relationship or not. I mean, even if it wasn't an open relationship, most of the time I just want to know why things happen. So like I would just sit down, discuss it, we'll talk about it as honestly as we can. So personally I don't think it's a deal breaker, like I said. Like it depends on like what results the conversation brings. But I would have a discussion before making any decision.
Yeah, before Deoye goes on, I want to just add that if you're watching us on Facebook, remember you can drop your questions and we will answer them live. We also have questions that people already asked us yesterday, so we'll go and get into that in a bit. Deoye, I wanted you were going to talk about the reason why you don't feel the reason why you don't feel cheating is not a deal breaker for you.
Okay, I think that. See, I have seen enough of human behavior to understand that people are not, I think it comes down to me accepting that people are not perfect. And then, like Toby said, and I said, there's a context to everything. There's always, it's not just what happens in when someone cheats. It's not just about the act. It's also about a whole lot of things that might have led to it. And so you also look, in my case, I also looked at being together for a while. I looked at, and then we had a conversation. So, and also, yes, this important thing, I guess maybe it might have been different if I discovered it myself. But because the person was forthright and came over to say, yo, this is what happened, blah, 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 I kind of felt like, okay, if you knew that this thing tortures you as much as this and you still had the strength to come forward to tell me, then I guess maybe there's some redemption in this. But also, that was like how many years ago? That was like 2014 or so. Now, I don't even want to know. So it's like I don't.
That's real. That's
Like,
real.
I just don't want to know. Like, see, if you did it, if it's weighing on your conscience, carry your burden. Don't lay it on me. Don't torture me. Just carry your load. I don't want to know. You get, that's where I am now. And I don't know if it still happens. Maybe we'll see. But I'm just speaking from how I reacted at that point in time.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen if it happens again. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
And I don't just want to say never this, I would never do this. I never, Like, I've seen enough to say that, to know that when people say they'll never do something, it's left until when they confront that particular situation.
Right.
I feel like we need to interrogate the mindset that if your partner cheats on you, you want to hear it from them. I guess it's an idea that it makes it better if your partner is the one that tells you they cheated as opposed to hear it from someone else. Yeah.
Yes.
But before we go into that, we're going to take some comments and questions on Facebook that was asked yesterday. Komi Wari is asking, what could be the cause where one is faithful and the guy she dates is not faithful? Does it mean that being faithful as a lady, one cannot have a faithful husband as well? Or does it mean one should endure a cheating partner and take it as a normal?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. I feel like because of the way the world is now, a lot of people feel the need to settle. No. If you want a monogamous relationship with a non-cheating partner, it is absolutely possible. You don't have to settle.
You don't have to settle for anything. Yeah. Someone is talking about money, expression of love, definition of love. I think maybe he's trying to relate cheating with, having money, which is something else. Leo Okweme is saying, how can one know a cheating partner besides, because my wife often spends so much time on social media, Facebook in particular, even when we are together talking with others, it creates room for suspicion, and I can't have access to her phone because it's locked with a code. So Leo is worried that it's cheating because she spends a lot of time on social media. Anybody want to respond to Leo? And I raise his fears. I take away his fears.
Leo should calm down.
I mean, I'm not married, but I don't think that spending hours on social media means that your partner is cheating.
And he mentioned that they are together texting, and they are together texting different people. So Leo, so maybe she's also worried that you said you are cheating on something. Emma Sonny, sorry, he's asking a question. He says, please, I really need help. I and my girlfriend have not been in texting terms since her birthday. And she's not that kind of person, and I'm considering an alternative. Am I being fair? So he's asking that he and his girlfriend have not been texting as often
So they haven't been texting. He's thinking he should. I mean, I just think that, like, people should be honest human beings, right?
Yeah, I feel like
if you're worried that you no longer have a girlfriend because she's no longer texting you, like, be clear. Right, because I think that what people try to do is, one, give themselves a reason to cheat, right? They're like, oh, can you imagine when we started dating, she had long hair. She knows I like long hair. She now cut her hair.
Yeah.
Nah, be a grown up and like talk to them. Like, worst case scenario, you say, hey, sorry, you know that since when it's long hair I like. If you like, not in an alternate, not in giving them a ultimatum, but you can just be like, it's long hair I like, so peace out. But I think it's not being selfish. They know that they still like her. It's just that they now want to see long hair and short hair, right? Which of course is 2020, you just wear wigs or whatever. But like, realistically, I just think that like it's dishonest because that person wants to feel like an honest person and they want to do what they want to do anyway. And I think that that's important for people who cheat to investigate for themselves, like, why do I feel the need to have A and B? I want to have it all, and it's not fair to people and I'm hurting them. Do I even care about the people that I'm hurting? Because obviously, if I do and I'm doing something that hurts them, then I need to figure out like why my definition of hurt and theirs is different.
But also even for him, I'm just even wondering, right? He's considering an alternative already because the texting pattern has, it's not the same. And I'm like, why don't you have a conversation first?
From A to Z.
Yeah, exactly. Like, talk about it. As often as we used to be. Is it because of there's this, when you meet someone newly, there's this ginger to always text and always
right.
And then it goes down as every other because people now know each other into two. So you can't be talking as intimately as you were talking before. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just so I feel Iman should have a conversation with her first. Talk to her first and then let her
know. Himself first. Like Ayomide said.
You said what?
He should talk to himself first. You should have a conversation with himself.
I understand yourself and your what's doing you.
Precisely. Know what is happening before you bring someone else into it. Like, what?
We have another long question, but I want to go to what people are asking live on our Facebook page right now. So we have different comments just hailing us. Marvin's Funds is asking, please, kissing another girl without any form of feelings, is that also cheating?
Yes.
You know it is. That's why you asked it. Because
Yes, sir.
So you have your answer there. It is cheating even if feelings are there or not. It's cheating.
It's not by feelings.
I think that people, for some reason, people want to justify when they cheat. They want to at least try to make it look good. So I only have feelings for one person, but I'm sleeping with somebody else. I don't feel anything for her, so we can't say it's cheating, right? It is. Sometimes you just need to own this thing with your chest and say that, yo,
this is what I did.
Or something. This is what
I did. Exactly. Say it.
Don't try to whitewash it. Just don't make it look good. We will never look.
Friday Uzo, I don't know if he's asking or if he's making a statement, but I would assume it's a question. He's saying hanging out with married women is not cheating. Nothing serious, just hanging around. I think this is a comment. Or if he's asking,
does his wife know or his girlfriend know?
What is hanging around mean?
Exactly. What do you mean by hanging around?
Are your clothes all when you're hanging around or not?
Sergio asked a question, but I think that question is not relevant to our conversation now. So our moderator will come, Sergio MPK, one of our moderators will come and send you a link to a Love Matters Naija article on what you're asking about. Mark Philemon Dadia, he's saying, if my partner cheats on me and I ask her and she confirms to me that she did, what should I do? I don't want to leave her because I love her so much. Should I find another girl to stay? Because she could not have cheated. Help me out.
I'm fascinated by this question.
This person just wants to cheat back. That's my opinion.
But I feel like if that's what you're doing, okay, so if the woman cheated first, he wants to cheat and do his own back.
Yes.
If she finds out and she breaks up with him, he's going to say, second to do no they pain. I mean, I don't know exactly what that expression is. Well, first to do no they pain, sorry. Right? And the conversation is going to be, how can she cheat first? I forgive her. Then when I do my own, she's vexed. But to be honest, that story is nonsense, because if someone cheats on you and you're hurt, and the only thing that will make you feel better is to cheat back, you need to tell them and say, hey, I love you, I want to be with you, but I have to go have sex with somebody else. That's the only way we're gonna work out. Then she'll say, yes, it's fair, this is justice. Or she'll say, no, I'm sorry I cheated on you. You doing it back does not fix anything. It's you making the problem worse. I don't want to do it again. Then make that clear. But to now say you do, it's essentially, it's emotional blackmail, right? You're saying to them, okay,
yes,
they've hurt me. I'm going to now hurt them and force them into a situation where they're not going to be able to say, like, it's like, you can't vex because you did. Like, no, like, you're being petty. You love them, but you want to also, like, treat them a certain kind of way. Like, yeah, you've been hurt. And maybe if this was, eye for an eye, you could do the same and everything would be fine.
Yeah.
But you doing your own back is not going to fix the relationship. And if the person values that relationship, you're just going to throw it away, which, I mean, it's fine if that's your plan. But if it's not your plan, don't do it.
That's what it's planned.
Don't do it if it's not your plan. Olayemi Ojelade, this is the long one I talked about earlier on. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to try and read it really quickly. Consider this: a guy and a lady started a relationship while in school. This continued till after school and eventually led to marriage. After a couple of months, the guy was of age and ready to marry. After the first child, who doesn't resemble the father, but he thought it was possible given the different factors involved in resemblance. So I am guessing now, right, that they dated in school, they got married, and then the first child doesn't look like the father, right? Then he goes on to say the second child does not look like the father also, and nobody in their immediate family, right? However, the guy has been suspicious, but kept quiet not to raise a false alarm without evidence of cheating. And then, oh my God, this is very hilarious. He now said, without evidence of cheating, he recently voiced out to one of his guys saying that he noticed that his wife's vagina is wider than what it used to be. He further stated that when in school, it was tight. After child's birth, a bit loose, which is normal. But the vagina just recently got wider, and the dick is just dangling inside. The guy is forced to open up to his guys, but has no evidence that the wife is cheating. What could be wrong in this case?
You should throw it all away and do a DNA test. Throw the marriage away and do it since he wants to be free.
I don't understand this nonsense. Like,
you ask your wife, why are they talking to anybody but their partner?
So they're doing vagina measurements, and you're not doing the actual scientific things that need to be done. Like,
I'm also even just thinking about the fact that he's saying that the children don't look like the father. What if they look like the mother? Or
like a whole lot of
I look like my mother's twin sister. Like, I don't look anything like my dad. And the thing is, the person knows that children, like the resemblance is not science. What they need to do, if they actually think that the children is not theirs, they need to get the money and go get a DNA test done. That's the only thing that will give them the answer that they're looking for.
Yeah. And then what happens when the children are ill?
Right, and again, right, like that's just like one side of it. The real problem is that obviously there's distrust there, because the man that is doing vagina measurements is going to say, even if the children are mine, she can still be cheating on me, right? So they need to figure out, like, okay, either you need to talk to your partner, but honestly, I feel like, to be honest, you should probably just do the DNA test first, so that way you have some like real hard facts. But no matter what the results of the DNA test is, they need to have a conversation and say, okay, what's going on? But if all they have that makes them think she's cheating is the children do not resemble me and her vagina is somehow, they need to look in the mirror. Very honestly.
That's not even.
We have.
I mean, these are people's real problems, Sha.
These are people's real problems, exactly. Wariboko Atunima says, if one gets married early in order to avoid cheating, but after some years in the marriage, and the husband, and no, sorry, let me take it again.
I'm so sorry.
Married early in order to avoid cheating, but after he gets into the marriage and the husband starts to close later due to the nature of the job, and the wife starts accusing him of having an affair with women outside, and the husband explains that the job is demanding and that's why he closes late. What should I do? So I think you have your answer to the question.
What did you want to do? What did you do?
How does getting married early, save you from cheating? I don't understand.
God, I have no idea.
It does. They don't know how to taste different soup.
But I think it's a valid. People are trained or are made to believe that if they get married early to their partner, they are committing their what's the word? They are making a decision to commit to themselves. Yes, and so it would prevent cheating, right? So, but I think that there are other factors. Different factors can make things happen. So I get where that mindset comes from. But just to know that it doesn't always work that way. So back to the comments on our live right now. Naomi Chinarim says, I believe cheating is just a choice and also lack of attention. Immaculata Ogechi is asking, my partner is double dating. I found out last 2 weeks, but our relationship is just 2 months old. How do I go about it? So Immaculata, if you're listening, are you but you said the relationship is new, right? So do you think that your relationship is a relationship or a situationship? Have you guys defined your relationship?
Harry, you're so mean.
Question.
No, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm asking.
But it's a valid question because I feel like a lot of people
where she's coming from. Right? I feel like that can help us understand where she's coming from. If we know if they've decided that, okay, fine, we are in a relationship together.
Exactly.
That's fair. And
she may be dating him, he may not be dating
the way the question is asked, I don't think that they're in a relationship because they said like double dating. Like if someone's cheating on you, they're cheating on you. Double dating just means they're dating other people.
Something else entirely.
You're just not at the stage yet. I think some people do feel like after the first 2 dates or first 2, okay, I like you, then that means I'm not seeing other people. Especially Nigerian men, they assume that women are only dating them, and it's like, ha ha ha. Like you had the official conversation, or are you my girlfriend? Are you my boyfriend? And then you had the conversation of monogamy, right? Like we are no longer seeing other people. You block all those other guys and all those other girls from your phone, or like unless that conversation is clear, you shouldn't assume anything. And if that's the case, if you haven't had that conversation, then this woman is not doing anything immoral or unfair or mean. She's just living her life like normal. And then, if that doesn't work for you, if you're like, no, from the beginning, I want you to be committed, then you guys can have that conversation and then figure out if that is what both people want.
Yeah, and it's also, and dating doesn't mean someone is exclusive. When you're dating someone, you're just dating, you're getting to know them, right? Okay. It doesn't mean that you guys are exclusive. It's not that people understand. You date people and then you decide, okay, fine, I want to be with this person, and then you start dating. Yeah. Toby wrote an article, a very interesting article on cheating on our website. It's called "What to Do If Your Partner Cheats on You," and she has incredible tips like remove yourself from the situation, get checked, cry, don't blame yourself, talk to friends and family, take a vacation, talk or confront them. So I want to ask you, what do you think in your personal experience is the most effective tool? You have remove yourself from the situation, you have get checked, you have cry, you have don't blame yourself, you have talk to friends and family, you have take a vacation, you have talk and confront your partner. What do you think is most effective?
Okay, honestly, I wouldn't say there's a particular step that is most effective, but the most important thing in that situation is when you first find out, you need to just maybe remove yourself from that situation, especially if it's in a situation where you actually catch the person right and you're going to be hurt a lot, especially if you know, I mean, cheating is cheating, you were lying, you're going to be hurt. It's definite. So I think the first thing is to just remove yourself entirely from that situation. And it's also important to get checked, go to the doctor, get tests, get tested, you know, because you never know if it's the first time or who they've been with before then or whatever. It's very important to stay safe, to stay healthy. But I think the most important will be there's something cheating does to people where they think they start to question themselves and start to ask, well, what did I do that wasn't enough, or what how could I have been enough? How could I have been better? Or essentially, it affects their self-esteem essentially. So I think it's important that they don't internalize this thing that the person has done to them or to their relationship, and they don't start to feel like it's their fault in any way. Half the time, you know what? 100% of the time, it's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault, but the person who did it. So I think it's important that people remember that it's not about them, but about the step that the other person took, right? Like I said earlier, if it's not a complete deal breaker for you, you can have the conversation when you're ready to, when you feel ready, emotionally. You can sit down with your significant other and talk about it. You know, figure out what happened or what went wrong or why you felt you need to cheat. You know, if you're going to, like I already said, make it an open relationship, that can also be done. But I think, yeah, the most important thing is not to internalize it. Make sure that you don't blame yourself. Because honestly, like you said, people are complicated. It doesn't mean that they are bad people or they meant to hurt you or anything like that. It's just people are more nuanced than that. So it's important that you don't blame yourself that, oh, something I did or something I didn't do. So yeah, I think that's pretty important.
Okay. We have a question from Naomi Chinarim. So we'll take her question, take one more question from the ones that had come in yesterday, and then we'll give our final thoughts. Naomi Chinarim is asking, making other friends aside your partner, is it cheating?
No.
No.
Unless you get naked with those friends.
No, it's not. Unless you get naked with those friends, exactly.
I will say, in addition to that, though, that I think it's and you know, there are all these TV shows that always toy with this idea of like emotional cheating and all these things, right? I do think that one, if you're actually honest with yourself, you know when you're starting to do bad things. So it, you know, like I meet a guy who is, you know, I'm in a relationship, and then I meet a guy who's like my spec, right? And we met at, you know, I don't know, comedy club that I do comedy at. I'm being random. I don't know why I don't do comedy. But anyway, right? It's all above board. We're just like, oh, let's hang out and, you know, talk about some comedy stuff, right? No voila. If I start to be like, yo, he's really cute. And he's taller than my boyfriend though. And it's cool. Like you know within yourself, right? So like in that moment, right? If someone said, are you cheating? Well, technically no, but I am putting myself in a situation. And then you know the guys are like, oh, you need somebody to come help decorate his house. He just moved. You'll come by. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, you know, when you are starting to make decisions that are possible.
That's very insecure. That's a very insecure situation.
I know, right? It is very. But it happens, you know, like people are like, oh, yes, being friends with them is not cheating. But you have to be, again, honest with yourself, right? Like if I'm friends with someone who I find hella attractive and I really enjoy spending time with, and I don't tell my partner about them, or I'm keeping things, so I'm like, oh, it's just some guy. And then I don't tell my partner that's like, is this beautiful Adonis of a man? And you know, like when you start to hide things, that's when I think you get into problematic territory. Just like in marriage perspective.
Yeah, I think when you start to, you know, when you start keeping things from your partner, then there's a problem. I think we should even just start from there. Our last question is from Messi Donatus. Why do men cheat in relationships? I'm gonna ask the man on the panel.
Okay, hard. The age-old question. Who has the answer to that?
Nobody.
Don't know anybody.
Only God.
They just do.
Nobody
At this point, I got to the point I realized that it's not a man thing. It's a person thing.
Yeah, true.
The sad part is that society makes it look to men that it's okay to cheat, where women are put on a pedestal, and they will be shocked to realize that if you look at this, I'm saying things. Anyway, the thing is, men
Oh my God.
yeah, men are not. Men cheat because they want to. Like I think Toby said it, that cheating is, or maybe somebody else, that cheating is, when it comes down to it, really, it's a choice. It might be a bad choice, it might be a bad decision, but it all comes down to the fact that it's a choice. And then whoever does it is basically making that decision to, step out on their partner and then do shit behind their backs.
Yeah, we have so much questions coming in that came in yesterday and even today, but we can't take everything. So I'm just going to ask that if we didn't answer your question, go to the inbox, and just our moderators will be there to help assist and guide whatever it is that you're worried about. Also, our website has so many articles on love, relationships, and even cheating to help you, find your space. I know I said final thoughts is next, but I saw this comment and I wanted to just read it out. Queen Olamide is saying, suspected my boyfriend cheating with a girl in my street thrice. Asked him to tell me the truth, but he kept saying that he's just like a mentor to her. Not until I hacked his Facebook account and saw all his chats begging her for more love, giving her his keys to his house. Calls her every day and night. I'm depressed and so disappointed, don't know what to do. My relationship with him has been 6 years now. Should I let go? Yes or no? Yes. Panel, should she let go? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. I mean, the fact that you have to hack into somebody's account is already an indication that relationship is,
right.
Yes. I also want to add that hacking people's Facebook is not legal. So we are
and it's
not good for your emotional health, right? Because I think that you put yourself in a situation where the next guy you date, you're going to hack his Facebook page even before you suspect anything, because now you're like, I just need to know. And I think that, like, back to Toby's point, and I think that this person should read the article. They need to figure out how to essentially like rebuild themselves, because like you got to the point where now you're wondering, like, even though this person is obviously disrespecting you, you asked them, they didn't tell you. And then I think they said the other woman is on their street. That's so lazy and disrespectful.
That's like,
that's actually like you don't even value me as a human. Like,
the guy did not try. He didn't try.
Like, you have mind.
That's what that relationship is over.
Very disrespectful.
Chineye Okuzo, please, can a guy cheat on someone he calls his fiancé if he truly loves her just because she said no sex till marriage?
I actually have a really interesting opinion about this. Well, I don't know if it's interesting. I think it's interesting. I think that oftentimes people think that cheating equals absence of love, right? And I think that's just not true. Now, granted, okay, so cheating is not they don't love you, right? But now love means different things to different people, right? Some people think, how can you love me and marry another wife, right? Well, some people's cultures, that's okay. So the question now is for you, the fiancé in this situation, to ask yourself, am I okay with the kind of love that includes cheating? Because if you're not okay with it, then it's like someone saying, oh, he cheated on me, he doesn't love you. Okay, he loves you, but it still doesn't work for you, right? You can still leave. You can break up with someone who loves you for many other reasons, right? So like this situation is just like, it's not that they don't love them, right? Like it's likely that he loves her, he just can't not do, can't not have sex or whatever. And if she's like, if you love me, you'll wait. And he says, I can't wait, but I love you. Like, then they have to figure that out. But it doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It's just that his own love contains other things. And your definition.
And just to add, I think Chineye needs to have a conversation with him. I don't know whether you're asking for someone else, Chineye, but have a conversation and say, I want you, I know we talked about waiting till we get married, but I know that it's not okay for you, you get. So are we going to open it up till we get married? Is it going to be cleanly a sexual thing? We're going to open it up sexually for you to get your feel. Are you going to just have sex with a random person once a month till we get married? Whatever you decide is valid and it's fine, but make sure you have a conversation with your partner. This has been so good. We can't even have final thoughts because our time is far.
Right. Right.
All our thoughts are final.
But please,
Yeah.
I want everybody to just tell our audience how they can reach you, how they can find you on social media.
I'm on Twitter at only iOS, only iOS. That's me on Twitter.
Okay, Delia.
Okay, it's cross-eyed nerd. Cross-eyed nerd.
Yeah,
Both
because
Twitter, Instagram. And I don't have sense. So
yeah,
Beg to differ. I'm on Twitter at Tobiafolabi _.
Yeah, nobody has any shameless plug they want to plug in. Everybody, we're good.
No.
Thank you everyone on Facebook for joining us live. This video will be available on our YouTube channel before the next episode of No Filter. So go and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also follow us on Twitter at Love Matters NG. Our Instagram is Love Matters Naija _. Our website is lovematters.ng. We have so much information that you just need to go and check it out. After this Facebook Live, go on our Instagram page. We have another live session, but that is on talking about gender identity, and we're going to be talking with Michael Akonji. It's going to be so much fun. If you have questions about gender identity, what it means to be non-binary, what it means to be trans, all the different gender identities that we have now, there's a conversation that's going to happen on our Instagram page, Love Matters Naija _ with Michael Akonji. So please go there and when you leave here. Thank you everybody for coming on this show today. I'm very, very grateful. And if you have more questions, please take them to the inbox. Our moderators will be on hand to answer your question. It's been an amazing time. I'll have to say goodbye. Bye-bye, everyone.